Alright, are we live? We might be. We might be live. Alright, and a quick audio check confirms my worst fears. That everything is working properly. I'm going to turn this over here. It seems... Oh, gosh. My only problem with OBS right now is the lack of real filtering for... Alright, it's time to stop listening to myself in this. Device properties. Yes. No, it's not the advanced properties, my goodness. Also, why is this thing like this? There's no way that's working. It's supposed to look like that. My biggest problem with OBS right now is the lack of maybe in filters I could do something. No. I'm gonna have to investigate this more. But the threshold for what is picked up on the mic does not appear to be something I can adjust with any degree of ease. A little annoying. Well, what can you do? Alright, so who do we have in the chat? I've got my laptop here so I can actually see folks. Hello to... Oh, hey, there's Bradford Walker. And Durian. Durian, I think you're a very new viewer. If I'm correct, you found us via the... Was it the Jabberwocky video? No. I think it was via the grappling video. I've seen you pop up a whole bunch, which has been quite fun. Let's see, there's audio monitoring, volume percentage, mono, balance, yeah, I don't get to adjust that. Okay, so I'm gonna have to filter that out. For Dorian, yes, it was the unarmed video. Alright, that's pretty cool. No, that's fun. We are going to put up some nonsense here. It'll be a relatively short stream. Not necessarily a short stream, probably gonna stream for about an hour or two. We'll see what happens. Right now I'm just still getting set up and indicating to people what's going on. Something changed in my OBS settings where it's no longer, weird. Something definitely changed between these. This doesn't change between. So something used to pop up on. I used to have like a little chat window pop up on. Is this where I left off? There's no way this is where I left off. Letting me know when people were commenting in the stream, and that's not here anymore. I don't know why. I mean, it's okay. I have my laptop next to me, but what can be done? So the other thing I'm going to do is move my... Let's capture a specific window, please. Cool, that appears to be working correctly. Aside from the fact that it's like way outside. This is goofy as hell. I think it would just default to the window size, but it didn't. What on earth? Alright, yeah. Next time before I do this, we're definitely going to have to go through my OBS settings. But while you two were here, what did you guys think of the Unarmed video? And have you seen the Jabberwocky video? I'm an absolute mess right now because this headset is tangled in ways that I could not possibly explain. There we go. I should be connected again. Now, like the base level of background noise is just default high. What is this? A Destiny stream? Come on now. Apologies for the long stretch of silence. I was just waiting for my thing to come offline. Okay, Durian, you said you love both. That's pleasant. That's pleasant. I got a little bit of feedback from my... Welcome to the stream, folks. I got a little bit of feedback from my buddy, Snuggly.
The Forest Song!
Saying that the thing he really enjoyed was the fact that he didn't really have commentary after
A necessity!
said and done. I thought that was like I had gone through everything that he was expecting.
We never miss.
Expecting to talk about. And I think that the format of these videos is reinforcing the idea. Am I going to keep these guys? I am. I'm specifically going to keep these guys this way.
Ready and waiting. Glade guard! Understood!
Kids on me.
Just see the idea that I had gone through pretty exhaustively all the points that
Hunters!
most people bring up.
It shall be.
Discussing whatever the subject might be. So, for instance, with the Jabberwocky video, it's like, here's all the reasons why this thing is boring. Here's all the reasons why
Awaiting orders.
it could have been done better. Here's why there's like no excuse not to do this
Armed
better.
and ready.
Exhaustive is maybe the wrong word for it.
Your command.
Comprehensive. Like there's a clear narrative going through these videos as I go through them. I start with a point, right? I start with an explanation, or sorry, not an explanation. I start off with what it is that I think first, and then I give all the explanatory details thereafter. And the reason I do that is because I think it's actually kind of rude when people, this especially happens in like debates, because I started watching Destiny about a year ago, and I don't like watching the debates. I think it's probably the most, hearing way more Total War audio. Okay. Aha. Alright, I think I can just this right from here. If I set this like minus 30 decibels, it looks like it's just generally a little bit more effective. Oh. Let's see what happens. Alright, yep, I think I fixed that. What was I saying? I was talking about Destiny. I think it's so. I don't enjoy the debates, but I don't enjoy the debates as much. I generally try to avoid them. Sometimes it's just something I can't help but click on because generally speaking, I'm politically divergent from him in most ways, but I think he's very interesting to listen to. Certainly interesting to disagree with. It's something I get frustrated with so often. It's usually not him doing this. It's usually his opponent doing this. Is somebody will... Do I want to position these guys forward? I think I do. I think I should probably just get this thing started. Am I going to wipe out Cav first? I should wipe out Cav first. I don't think... Because first of all, they have no reason to exist. In the face of my beautiful army here. One of the things I find most annoying with his debate opponents is that they will just go off on a long explanation of details that don't really have a coherent through line and seem like they're trying to lull you into a state of acceptance or lull you into a unearned sense of safety before they hit you with the point. And I hate that because for one thing, it doesn't work in debate. It's just a gish. It comes across as just a gish gallop. It's very annoying. I think the most annoying thing. About it is just like it just doesn't produce. It just makes you come across as being annoying. It just makes it like, oh, this person is stupid. They can't come to a coherent point. They can't explain what the through line of their argument is, and they're trying to, maybe they think they're trying to trick me, but the trick doesn't work because the person has already lost investment by the time you've gotten to some 6 or 7 detail that you haven't, for which you have no narrative through line or narrative context for. I hate when videos do that. Sometimes you can get away with stopping people from making a coherent point in text. Like if somebody starts off with their argument in text and says, okay, I'm arguing for position A. I think the OSR is dumb, right? And you send that first message. Sometimes somebody will jump in very quickly and say, "Ah, but you haven't proven that the OSR is dumb, and therefore I think that your argument is retarded, and I'm going to spin off 60 insults about it." And you could get away with that in text. But over a voice conversation, like generally speaking, you should just present your point first, run through the arguments thereafter, have a consistent through line. I think it's a little better. Like, in my explanation of this phenomenon, I could have started off by saying, there's a thing that people do which is dumb and tricky, and it's setting off an inconsistent narrative with no narrative through line, and then trying to draw the through line at the end. And that probably would have been a better explanation. Let's see. Bradford Walker says, seen both the unarmed... Oh, hey, Bob. Seen both the unarmed combat video was a good one. Also notable is that the mounts in a cavalry charge can overbear the same target the rider attacks in melee. This hammers home the threat. Absolutely. Once we do... Whenever we get to the individual tables... Because I'm split on what I want to do for the next rules you may have missed. But whenever we get around to the individual tables, I just start up this battle. I'm ready. Start deployment. No, I'm not channeling magic. There's no need for me to do that. Start battle. Pause. The big swords are the only guys I really have to worry about here. It's going to be the bleak swords and the various archer units here. Bob Stevens says the unarmed video was top notch. Yeah, thank you. Total War audio should be fixed by now, by the way. As well, the next rules you may have missed video. I don't know if I want to go right into the other unarmed tables. I don't think I have to. Yeah, I don't think we have to jump back into those just yet. I think it'll be fine if we cool down on that for a moment. I know what the next 5th edition retrospective is going to be. It's going to be a subject very near and dear to my heart. And is it going to be a video on the Ranger? Nah, I'm going to do exploration first. I'm going to set the groundwork for the Ranger video, because I've already done one video on the Ranger. It was a pretty good explanation of why I think the Ranger is bad. There is no exploration mode of play in 5th edition. Just something that's usually obvious to everybody, but apparently for some people this is not the case. What can be done? The idiots are the idiots. Well, they're not necessarily idiots. They're just, they're just misinformed. Oh, so many of those missed. It was still a good hit, though. Alright, that unit immediately fumbled. Immediately folded. That's exactly what I want to see. Tell you what. You guys start firing on those dickheads. I should not be cursing. YouTube live stream. Come on now. Pretty sure you guys beat these other guys in melee. Oh, they do. They absolutely do. This will be good. Alright, time to wheel. Perfect. But yeah, alright, so Bob liked the unarmed video, Durian liked the unarmed video. I'm very glad that Brad got like the unarmed video. But yeah, I think we are going to switch to... Uh-oh, what kind of effect are you guys? Ugh, I don't like that. It's not going to help them. Yeah, your friends are going to be... fleeing in just a minute here. That will be perfect. You guys can chill right over here. Actually, no, I don't want these guys to chill over here. So the next 5U video, I think, is going to be, like I said, I'm pretty sure it's going to be on exploration. Whether 5th edition had exploration, usually see a lot of videos, or sorry, not videos, it's rarely videos. It's, where does it come up most often? I think Reddit posts is where I see it the most often. You'll just see something, oh, what are you doing there? You should not be doing anything like that. What are you doing? You get back here right this instant. Oh, what the hell, man? Oh my god, why is it always broken? Alright, you start shooting those guys so they leave my boys alone. There we go, that's better. I'll just have those guys run in there. Perfect. And now they can retreat back that way. Let's see here. Fiddleback says, I know you know how to do audio. No, I don't. Oh, no. What's wrong with it? Ah, jeez. No, please do ping me on Discord. Although you don't have to. I have my, I am speaking into the mic. Is it not registering the same microphone here? It should be. Okay, so it says it's registering Elgato Wave 3, but it could theoretically be lying to me. I'm going to change position of it and hope that if I keep my keyboard behind this mic here, because I do not have a boom mic. If I do not have a boom set up for this is the Elgato Wave 3. Yeah, but the problem is if I increase gain, there's a lot of background noise right now that I do not know how to properly muffle with OBS right now. Now it sounds like the Warhammer audio is not interfering that much. Which is good, which is promising. We're actually going to hit these guys first, and then we can... mess with them appropriately. Our hammer is inaudible. Oh, I got those guys to change direction. That's probably a good thing. I don't know why they thought it was going to make things better for them, though. Come on, you guys are in the crossfire of all crossfires. Can't even benefit from the shields right now. Alright, so I'm going to increase this up to 19, minus 19 decibels. And see if we get audio capture now.
Stop. The enemy cast spells. Our sorceresses are at work.
Alright, and how's that match up with everything else? That's a little okay. In fact, maybe it's a touch too loud. We'll take this back down to... Take this back there. And we'll put this on slow mode. Okay. We're going to switch back here. Yeah, so now it's at minus... Now it's at minus 22. That's a little bit more audible. Certainly preferable here. This guy's a toast. You know, it's time for the rest of us to have some fun.
Nature's assault.
That should have hit him with the Awakening of the Wood. Oh, it did! Excellent. Oh, those guys are out of ammunition. Okay, so we'll just let that run. While I go through this. Fiddleback, I know you're bossy. That's okay. A little bit of coffee should solve this. Fix this problem right up. You said good work on your channel and the videos. I've enjoyed them, and we all know I don't actually enjoy anything. Well, you are historically or very famously a curmudgeonly individual. I have not found this actually to be the case by and large. You've been stupidly friendly to me. Not stupidly as in it's a dumb decision, but insofar as I found myself stupefied, dumbfounded, if you will. Very pleasant fashion. There we go. So my mic has gone up to a new... It's all a vicious rumor. It is kind of a vicious rumor. No, so my first interaction with you was... Or wasn't even an interaction. My first coming across you was the... Yeah, now it's up to game 3 on my Elgato. And I find the background noise that's usually gets picked up at game 3 and game 4... Or sorry, at game 3... It's usually not that bad. The increase in sound quality is usually worth it. Game 4 is where the background audio becomes really, really bad if I can't do something about it in post-processing or in something like, you know, if I'm recording on Audacity, doing a noise reduction is the necessity at that point. I usually have to do it twice. I'll do I do 2 passes on it. But yeah, thank you. So my first interaction with you was intended interaction was on Digressions and Dragons. I remember listening to that. I think I started listening around episode 30-something. And then from there, basically every week while I was listening to this I was usually listening to it like while I was at work. I was working as a groundskeeper at the time, which is a very large slice of my life. And I would just listen to that basically all day, episodes on repeat, while I was at work. And then every single week I would say, I gotta write in this week. It'll be so much fun. What are they? Now, I very clearly told these people to attack this guy over here. Well, I guess he's gonna get away. What can be done? The game is a game. I don't think... Okay, listen. Deployed, 681. Losses, 36. Deployed, the enemy, 926. Losses, 738. I don't think it's fair, necessarily, to call that a close victory. I do have my own show which talks about things, and that gets back to what Bradford was discussing, or commented earlier, which is that the 5e discourse on YouTube is terrible. So many of them are unaware of their own assumptions of how RPGs work, or assumptions of how RPGs work contributes, their own assumptions of how RPGs, if I had just kept reading that through, I would have understood, and I would not have stumbled over myself. Okay, the 5e discourse on YouTube is terrible. So many of them are unaware that their own assumptions of how RPGs work contributes to the complaints they make. If I had simply read it to myself slowly aloud, I would have gotten it. Let's see, minus 5,000. I always need more gold, but maybe I need this army to be alive for a little bit longer. So we'll see about it. I have no idea where I left off in this game. Durian says, I'm dropping connection, sorry to miss out. No worries, buddy. Nobody does ever question their own assumptions. So I first met Bradford in the Bro SR scene, which I believe started in it was right about 2020. Early 2020, and then the game itself started probably around... Would have had to be... Oh, hey, this lady has a great eagle now. It's great. It's not like those other eagles, which are somewhat leave much to be desired. This is the best of all eagles. Alright, we're gonna get ready to take this over next turn, because people have been getting uppity in the south here. And, quite frankly, I'm done with them. Scarble's Lair. How are my allies handling things? They're handling things pretty well. Not much to be desired over here. The Venom Glade. Cool, cool, cool. So yeah, so nobody actually does question their assumptions in the tabletop RPG space. However, I met this group of people who were making wild claims that seemed just patently ridiculous. I could not believe what they were saying. Like, there's a right and wrong way of doing RPGs. There's a right and wrong way of playing the game. And it seemed correct to me, was the really fun part. Like, it seemed obviously true to me, but I was blindsided by the fact that I had never thought of it before. Like, there were obvious ways in which some people were doing things which are dumb or stupid. And should be changed or adjusted in some way. But I never had a great justification for it. Yeah, we can just do this. We don't need this. Do I want to... No, we need more money. Come on now. Hail of Doom Arrow. Ability, Hail of Doom Arrow. Hey, this seems pretty cool. Uses 3. Is that 3 per battle? Or is that 3 until I lose this thing? Oh no. There is a right and wrong way. The right way is the way in which you enjoy the game and have fun. The wrong way is in all the ways in which you don't. I am deeply skeptical of that. I understand where it's coming from. Because certainly, we do not want to engage in an activity in which we are not having fun. But at the same time, I think it's very easy for people to say, aha, nobody got up from my table in the middle of a campaign, or in the middle of a session, no less, and declared, I'm not having fun, so all of my decisions and all of my alterations to the game everything that I've decided to do is therefore justified, right? That's pretty common in RPG discourse. So I think what we needed, and I came up with this about a year or two ago. That's a feedback problem, not a fun, unfun problem. It is if... Is it a fun, unfun problem? I think it is. If we never get to identify fun or unfun, it's certainly running parallel to it. Or we could certainly understand why these two problems would be conflated. And if we never know whether people are not having fun or having fun, and certainly saying to people that that fun is the issue doesn't solve the problem. And that's where I got really excited. And that's where I started developing language around this. Bradford is saying people are using the wrong tool for the job, and that's further exacerbated by not being aware of what the job they want done is. This was kind of the basis for about 2 years ago, where I started saying, okay, the medium I can demand or can evaluate the quality of a given medium or the quality of a given expression of a given medium by whether it adheres to that medium's constraints. Constraints? No, conceits was the word. If I am invited to, I just have to like survey my domain here. Oh gosh, these guys are all so screwed. You gotta get out of there right now. Jeez. If a given piece of media adheres to does not adhere to the conceits of that media, generally speaking, I can say it's of lower quality, or it's bad, or it's less enjoyable. For instance, if my friend invites me to, like, look at a painting gallery,
Wood elf spellweaver.
And then we get to the gallery, and I cannot see any of the paintings,
Very well.
and even the small details I can make out reveal to me that there are no actual, there's no actual paint on the gallery. In fact, there's no gallery at all. We could say that's bad. Because I've been promised an experience. I didn't get that experience. And mostly it seems like the experience matches up with some kind of prank. You know? So if I go to a gallery, there's no paintings. If I've been invited to a gallery and there's no paintings, something's gone wrong. We could safely say that it's bad, I think. Even if I find myself entertained by the prank, we could say that is a bad painting gallery. We can say that's a good prank. Am I gonna call my LS to help? I don't know if that's a smart idea. Listen, if the dwarves did not want to, if they did not want me to take this place over, they should not have had such an obvious, lovely piece of loot lying around. Grudges or not.
My song was heard.
Am I going to colonize this? I probably should. Otherwise, they're going to colonize it.
I am ready.
And I'm going to have a whole bunch of problems. Fiddleback says that people will have fun, or not on their own merits. Good GMs, since we want to stick to RPG realms, will go to the trouble of finding out who is having what sort of fun and who isn't having any fun at all. Then they'll work out how to make their game more fun for people not having fun, while also not ruining the fun already being had. It takes a whole lot more work than most GMs assume or are willing to put in. RE your gallery, let me present John Gage's 430, where the point is to experience the sound of the place the concert is being held in, without actually presenting any music. gallery without paintings can be a perfectly valid art experience in that sort of light. It could be, but it's not likely to be. And if it's not made clear to begin with, if that is not the draw of the experience, I think I could still call it bad. Especially if I'm being tricked into experiencing it. It would have been much preferable to choose one good gallery over another. It would have been preferable to say, well, this one has more cubists, and I know that you like cubists, so we're going to take you to the cubist gallery. Or saying, well, I think that you will like, I know that you prefer cubists generally, but I think that this particular selection of Impressionist painters will catch your eye for reasons, because there's some commonality between them. Some commonality between what you like over here and what I think you like over here, so I'm going to take you there instead. And maybe it's a hit, maybe it's a miss. Both of those scenarios are far more preferable to somebody taking me to a painting gallery, which has no light and does not, presumably, no paintings. I actually don't think, you know what, I actually don't think it's a valid experience. I don't think it's a valid art expression. Because it relies on trickery. It relies on the promise of something that is obviously preferable to other people. But is not actually going to be satisfied in any way. Aha, at no point should a GM be tricking people into their games. I'm inclined to agree. Alas, or unfortunately, this is something that, to my mind, happens quite often. So if we start setting a baseline, like, and we could give room for exceptions. Preferable to me, perhaps. No. I think this is one where it's just like necessary to assume it for the sake of having any kind of conversation about better or worse. If you start off from the position that, like, okay, we have to obey the conceits of the medium for this to be a valid RPG experience, then all of a sudden a lot of games start looking like, painting galleries without light, or paintings. A lot of games in which you're not able to make decisions, you're not able to make choices, you, the player, are not able to enforce your own will on the game in a way that you can't in video games. Like, right now I'm playing Warhammer 3. I can't just make my own faction with its own rules. I can't start from I am committed to the sort of world layer of diplomacy and adventuring and the modes of mass combat. I can't take Orion over here and go into a dungeon. But I can in D&D, or I'm supposed to be able to in D&D, or any other game that promises, like, the full breadth of the fantasy milieu.
Lord of the Asray.
So if I'm playing something like D&D, I expect more decisions. I expect more modes of play than what I can get in a video game. And suddenly from there, it seems like it's a much better place to start having conversations that are fair about what I should be able to expect in a game like D&D. Or what I should be able to expect in RPGs. However, if we don't start from there, if we start from the idea that everything is permissible, and everything could be fun to someone, then a lot of other, like, really nasty stuff starts sneaking in. Like people attempting to tell the stories of books in RPGs. I don't necessarily think that's a good thing. Ooh, do I? I think I need people shoring up this army down here, or else I'm gonna have a problem. Yeah, I definitely need people down there. Bradford says, I'm not sitting down to play Monopoly, instead doing diplomacy. That's sort of misusing games as normal in tabletop RPGs. Yeah, that's pretty much the main thrust of the argument. I'd much rather prefer doing something else. Okay, time to see where these other lords have been and are going. Oh, hey. This place is ready. Shoot. Shoot. Do I want to go to war with these guys? I can't remember what my plan was for this particular... Okay, so this guy's up here. Bunch of dwarves who are not huge fans of me right now. What's it cost to settle that building? Not enough for me to go do it. Yeah, they have a bunch of... Oh. Uh-huh. I'm just gonna leave that section be and make sure that I have mine. Would I say it's normal in tabletop RPGs? Absolutely. I don't necessarily know what I would offer as... I will stipulate, I don't necessarily know what I would offer as proof for this. Certainly people talk about it a lot. We could start saying that people tend to remember past feats with advantages, or we could say the opposite, where people tend to focus on the negatives too much of their RPG play, and so it wouldn't be fair to take YouTube comments as being indicative of people's general RPG experience. That would also be fair, but I think it's important to... Oh, do I just want to go to war with these guys? You know what? No, I don't think I do. These guys, on the other hand... Well, they don't have anybody guarding them right now. So if I were to do something funny, like start attacking them, who could stop me? Who would even think to stop me? Tricky questions indeed.
The Sisters of Twilight.
Sanctuary is ours.
Let's see, there's a discussion going on in chat. We're playing D&D, no adventure, no exploration, no combat, no treasure, just lots of talking and drama. That's misusing a game. You say one thing and mean another. That could be one example. I remember one campaign I was in where, like, we weren't technically railroaded. We could go wherever we wanted to. But all outcomes and events were... all outcomes and events were predetermined. There were cutscenes that needed to be played, that had to be played for the game to progress. And so advancement or progression outside of those specific cutscenes, outside of those specific events, was hammered down viciously. Any kind of deviation was sort of not explicitly prevented, but certainly in the context of the rules and how the encounters progressed and how certain things were weighted. Yeah, there's very interesting chat going on in the chat. Is there a certain set of expectations about D&D gameplay is or is not? Yes, I would say that there is. And it goes back to what I was talking about earlier, insofar as I can't do the stuff that I am supposed to be able to do, or that D&D promises D&D can do in a video game. Right? It's supposed to be better in some way. It's supposed to have, or not necessarily better, it's supposed to have more, right? It's supposed to have more than what the average video game can offer me. I can't combine the experience of Vermintide with the experience of Warhammer 3. or with the Total War games. Even though they're presumably in the same narrative context, the same narrative fiction. There's a through line. They're in the same setting. So the Warhammer Fantasy role-playing game should be able to, again, matching the conceits of the medium, should be able to provide me with the full experience of something like Total War, or the same breadth of experience as Total War plus Vermintide, right? It's not going to be like playing a video game. But I'm supposed to be able to have more experiences in a tabletop RPG than I am supposed to have in a video game, but that's often not the case. Video games have been progressing, have been advancing for the past 50 years. Tabletop RPGs have been supporting less modes of play, less enjoyment, fewer experiences over those same 50 years. And if I want to be able to describe that as bad, I sort of have to say, I sort of have to draw a line somewhere, noting that it's not going to cover all fun experiences or all entertaining experiences or all things that people might enjoy. Who has not been moved? Somebody all the way over here. This is one problem with playing Wood Elves. Is that... What on earth? Oh, colony. I see.
These are dark times.
Is that this entire colossal map is my map. It doesn't matter where I start. Everything is technically my domain. But there happen to be other people living in it. Is this guy... Okay, I have not confederated with this particular faction yet. That is going to happen soon. We will keep this in mind. Yeah, so if I want to express any kind of displeasure about what's going on, or how RPGs are sort of falling behind, or have been falling behind tabletop role-playing games for a very long time now, I sort of have to draw a line in the sand somewhere and say, this is like the median for things which are good, as opposed to things which are not good. There's a whole lot of plague over here. Why? Oh, Nurgle cultist. Sure. Yeah, yeah, that looks like him. Now, we're not at war yet. I say yet. I don't see where his armies are. I could just start walking down and, thug-womping them. Oh, here he is. Okay. Aha! Okay. What happens if I kill this guy? They die. Oh, we're gonna refresh our units. I think we need to. Ooh. Oh, the ritual... Oh, it's already been completed. Okay. The wide variety of possible RPGs supports a wide variety of playstyles that appeal to a wide variety of people. Shoehorning experience in an RPG without regard for what it inherently supports is a recipe for a lot of not fun games. Which is why I think my language is pretty good, or why I'm comfortable using the language that I do. For games that don't support a wider range of experiences that are supposed to be possible, or that are possible in video games, and for some reason are not possible in tabletop role-playing games. Wait, where's Lord Not Moved? Oh, still this one. Okay, screw it.
How can I assist you?
See, there's plague going on here. I don't want to be infected with plague.
Very well.
Very annoying situation.
Proud son of Athel Lauren.
People will still enjoy it, though. A lot of people will have fun. A lot of people have fun in what we sometimes describe as being story games. Where the rules are kind of a... how do I put this? Where the rules are a barrier to events that people want to progress, that everybody at the table wants to progress in-game, wants to be able to experience, and then when you open up the rule book, people just get upset because, like, now they can't.
Your service.
Oh, we have to fiddle around with the rules now, and now the cool thing that we want to happen, that we're really invested in happening, just isn't going to happen. But I would posit those people probably don't belong in tabletop RPGs, and I would much prefer it if they left. I would be happier if they left. I would be happier with, continuing language for why they ought to leave. People are very bad at conforming to absolutes, but maybe if I start with an absolute... Here's the thing, I'm not expecting to run all story gamers out of the hobby, of course. But I could move the needle a little bit. I could say, I could set a standard or a baseline for, okay, if you're gonna mess around with the rule, like, I did not come into this game aware that you were redesigning things to your liking, or aware that my choices in game were going to be like, my character decisions are going to be subject to the Eye of Sauron, and all things that might interfere with your predicted or preferred plot are going to destroy. You don't really want all those people out of the hobby, you just want them out of the games that you particularly enjoy. That could be true. That could be true, but I want you to not say that, because that hurts my argument. So this coffee's great. No, I might not want them out of the hobby entirely. I definitely want them out of the games that I enjoy. Because it's horrific. It goes terribly. It's not fun. Sometimes it turns me into a problem player, where my existing and trying to like engage with the game that's set out before me still results in conflict. Transit? Okay, so I have not played Transit as of yet. I am going to make you run Transit for me, absolutely, because I have yet to play a Powered by the Apocalypse game. And it might as well be with somebody that I trust. But from what I know of Transit, it doesn't necessarily... how do I put this? Gosh, this is very difficult. It doesn't necessarily rub up against the different declarations that I'm making here. It might be. It is kind of a narratively driven game, but not in the same way where my decisions have to adhere to a preferred narrative in order to keep said narrative going. Right? So you could have a, by my description, you could have a D&D game, which is like West Marches style play. It supports mass combat, domain play, supports diplomacy, exploration, crafting, all the fun stuff, right? But there is still a strong narrative through line, like a context, something of a story developing, based off the events that are happening in play, right? I'm not just here to play a board game. Remember, I want all the conceits of the medium. Crafting is usually not fun. I will agree with that. Sorry, I got a burp here. My goodness. But it would be rude to do on stream. Outpost upgrade available. No, I don't want any of these. Goodness. I just want to have my turn. The pain of playing Wood Elves.
You are a natural indeed.
Or Libraris. I don't think I have.
Will hear you.
Oh, How are these people even aware of me? What the heck? You could have a D&D game like that where you're able to do everything. Remember, conceits of the medium. Part of the conceits of the medium was a table at home with your friends. Can easily support Bellacore, Shadow Legion. Okay, I remember that guy. Can support a narrative through line for whatever your game is, right? You can have all these things together, but whatever the preferred narrative through line, if I have a preferred narrative through line, if like the King of Ice and Frost is going to freeze over the valley in which play is happening, I am required to still abide by the, oh gosh, where did you come from? Oh man, I do not like that at all. Oh no. Please take care of this guy. I'd really rather. Oh no. We can sit here and pick at each other's arguments until I win, but it comes down to this. People have different fun in different ways. I still think that there's a baseline for most fun that's like preferable for most of the hobby to engage with. Yeah, like Amber Diceless is going to support a different kind of fun than D&D is, right? Or Vampire the Masquerade. So that absolutely makes sense to me.
Proud son of
Shoot, I
Athel
probably
Loren.
just have to go to war with this guy. I probably can't not go to war with this guy, or else
Your orders are
this entire region is going to be subject to a whole lot of bad stuff that I do not want to deal with.
for the Kadai.
Valiant defeat. Come on, buddy. Absolutely ridiculous. We're going to fight this out. You're best served to find the type of game and players that supports the kind of fun you want to have. That's also absolutely true. I'm better served trying to find games in which people are like, you know, they're invested, they tend to have their own drive, or they're comfortable going along with whatever other players are attempting to, like, drive at in a given game. I had to sit up in my chair so I could actually properly breathe and project. I interview folks to the, who I'm introducing to my games, because I want to make sure that they meet a few specific requirements that are not going to be interfered with, and verify that they're not going to cause a whole bunch of problems for me.
Way Watchers.
And it's certainly easier than trying to kick everybody else out of the hobby.
Ready to hunt.
But that never stops me from wondering, it's like, gosh, how much easier would this be if I didn't have to deal with this, like, class of people in the hobby, which is like, will not play games correctly.
Riders ready.
And perhaps I'd have to do less work if there were an understanding that people should act differently.
Children of Athel Loren. Eternal Guard.
Certainly food for thought. The stream time at now. I had a few other things I wanted to get to today.
I will comply.
Let's see.
Orders understood. Ever ready. Blade guard.
The Thinking Errors list. I've gone through quite a few of them at this point. Alright, these guys are going to charge the wall. These fellas are going to start shooting people, I imagine. These guys called Marauder Horsemen, who have distinctly less range than I do. That's going to be their problem. And just to get things started off, we're going to boost there as well. Let's have you guys fight as well. Why not? This will be funny. Yes, okay, so we were going to talk about the Jabberwocky. I'm still getting used to. Oh, jeez. Okay. Alright, that worked. I thought that wall was indestructible. Turns out this was not the case. That's probably fine. But we're going to move these guys back anyway. And now these guys are also going to move... We're going to move them back here. And these guys we're going to line somewhere else. Yeah, that's probably a good idea. How are you going to fare in melee there, my guy? Oh, pretty well. Okay.
Blade guard. At speed. At once.
I don't know why they're just sitting there waiting for me, but I outrange pretty much all these guys. I'm certain. Can't move. You could totally drop little reminders for your episode drops in my Discord. Absolutely, man. I gotta so one of the reasons why I said I gotta contact you soon is because I would like to do a crossover or something. Oh, I'm using. You're gonna understand. A crossover with GM Word of the Week. I don't know if it's literally going to be a crossover insofar as like this is like a dual episode structure, or maybe I would like to do something like make a video about a GM Word of the Week video. Would also be fun and entertaining, and I'm sure a valuable experience. But hey, who's going over there? Who's going over there? Wait, what? Oh, that's right. Those guys are still shooting. Immediately jumping into the breach. Maybe you guys should not do that. We're going to put on skirmish mode in case I forget about you again. How's this going in the meantime? Oh, it's going great. So, I've dropped 2 videos in the past 2 weeks that immediately jumped up my subscriber count by about 100 for 2 ongoing series that I would like to continue. Because I think people like series, and I think they like... am I just going to destroy another wall here? I probably should. Unless this works on the ground. Does it work on the ground now? Oh, well, would you look at that? How effective is this going to be? Alright, that was good enough. I think I'd probably just let my army run out of ammo before... doing anything particularly drastic. So I dropped those 2 videos that... I clicked this button. Yes, that one. Perfect. They got a ton of views, a ton of subscribers. Like I said, they bumped up my subscriber list by about 100, which was fantastic for me. And immediately got me in the YouTube algorithm to the point where I was having videos clear view counts, like the entire view counts of several other videos in the first day. And these were the Unarmed Combat tables and the Jabberwocky video for the... Ooh, I should have these guys do this. I should have somebody else to do that. These are for the D&D Rules You Might Have Missed series, which started off with 101 Time, discussing the 101 Time rules found on page 37 of Gygax's AD&D DMG, and the Jabberwocky Critter for our 5e retrospective, because I would like to, like I said, I would like to set the record straight on 5th edition. The good, the bad, the ugly, all that kind of good stuff. Oh, that was instantaneous. Holy crap. He's still taking damage. Like, nearly all of these guys should be dead by now. I don't see any particular reason to stop killing. Oh, hey, 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 hey. Whoa, 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 whoa. You guys are not supposed to be doing that. Is that you guys again? No, it wasn't. I'll set these ones over here. Can I send these guys in melee with trolls? That's not going to go well. How about this guy? Can I have him go in? I think I can. If I collab with you, do I get my own animated thingy? So I will commission my girlfriend to do so, absolutely. Because it was delightful. My girlfriend made the gelatinous rube images. They look fantastic. I'm looking to do more with her. Get more... Am I going to use this? I think I'm going to use this. I think I have to use this. Is it going to be able to survive that? How's his hit points doing? They're doing okay. It's okay hit points at the moment. Get a little risky. I will hold that thought. Yeah, there we go. Everybody else is dead now. Cool. So I'm going to go through my item list for just a moment. And drink some more water while you do that. Viewers, hi to the new folks in chat, by the way. Go ahead and tell me who is in chat right now. Sign off. Or sound off. Don't sign off, because that means that you leave. Long list of terrible and horrific mispronunciations. Upgrade to sinking, share, and cool. Looking at my remarkable tablet while I do this. Hey, Bradford's still here. That's good. Update was installed. Perfect. One of the things I'll be able to do for streams going forward is hook up my remarkable tablet to my computer and start having some fun there. Decisive victory. What do I want to do? Do I want? Oh boy, do I want money? Absolutely. Please do. Please give me money. Why am I taking attrition damage here? This is ridiculous. Ooh, okay. Chaos. Yes. Typical. Very annoying. Very, very annoying. What do I want to do here? Do I want more upgrades? I think I do at this point. All right, the two other things I had to chat about besides those videos was I thought it was neat that I'm finally in the YouTube algorithm and more views are coming in for a very tiny channel, and I didn't really have much else to say on those. It was dependent mostly on how many viewers we got for the live chat. and how many people wanted to discuss the videos or whether or not they had some extra thoughts on them. I saw like one. It wasn't even a negative comment. It was just like a disagreement that somebody was having, which is fine. On the Jabberwocky video, clarifying, it's like, well, this isn't supposed to be a combat monster. It's supposed to be more of a puzzle monster. And I was like, well, that's fine. That's cool and all. I would like their stat block to reflect it, which is one thing that I actually did address in the video. I could just leave this guy. I could just have this guy do nothing for this turn. But then I would be having distinctly less fun. Alright. What is it that gets me Eagle Riders? Which building do I need for Eagle Riders? This is getting ridiculous now. It's a game lodge. Which one do I need? Aha! Okay, Warhawk Crags. That'll be fine. In the meantime, I will have this guy go over and colonize Pakai's Bay. Ooh, and this lady can start murdering over here. This will be fun. Valiant defeat. This is so ridiculous. So the other two items on my list were discussing... Hey, he's back. Perfect. Because the other two items on my list were discussing... Do I have 21 backers now? 21 backers. Discussing Seven Willows and a small thread that I had on my Twitter account, which is no longer... Which I decided I was going to finish on video before I did anything else. So do I do... Which one of these should I do first? Because I basically wanted to be able to clip it, because it was going to take out way too much time to just type it all out, especially on Twitter, in a fashion that was readable. I could have done like a twit longer, but that's going to be like a mini blog post at that point, and lose context insofar as the people that I'm actually responding to, so it's not going to work out correctly. Old channel magic. Why not? Why not? I don't really... win or lose here, depending on what I get. Okay. And start deployment. And go over to Twitter. Yulan's room. Logged in on my other account on desktop, so... Did they let me do Chrome tabs on this one? I think they do. I'm gonna press OK. Perfect. And we'll scroll in so I can still keep track of chat in this other window. And then we'll probably wrap up. So, somebody asked a question. TRPG writers and publishers, what do you see as the current industry standard rate per word, on average? I said, obviously I have thoughts on this. So the rate that I typically pay people in the tabletop industry averages out to about 15 cents per word. And averages out is doing a lot of heavy lifting for me there. What on earth was it? Somebody's having a good time in Dallas. They must be driving down 73. Wait, no, 75. 73 is in New Jersey. It is a lot. It is a lot, but it was for specifically designers that I loved and wanted to come back to me at some point. And it was usually for small commissions anyways, right? So they're doing like 1,000 words usually. There was an exception to that. There was a 10,000 word commission, and so that person got paid, or it was above 10,000. So I think that person got almost 2,000 for their work on it, which I was happy to do because they did really good work on it. However, this has caused me problems in the past. Which is why I say here, I believe your rate for good designers that you know should be higher than 10 cents per word, as much as you could spare. Oh man! All right, so we hear a very loud car. Yeah, very loud car, and a bunch of sirens, and the sound of a fire truck, and I do wonder what happened soon afterwards. Fiddleback says, I could tell you that for the company I did work for, the going rate for writing was 4 to 5 cents per word. For editing was a flat 2 cents per word. I will keep that in mind, because I have a book for you to edit. That isn't actually for tabletop RPGs, it's a fantasy book that I need edited because of some problems that happened with Amazon that I'm not going to get into here. But yeah, and some companies do actually pay 4 to 5. Some people are still doing work for 4 to 5 cents a word or thereabouts. 12.5 said, listen, that's how it is. If I mess myself up by saying that I offer people so much at the beginning of this conversation, it's the price I have to pay, the social price, in addition to the monetary cost. So, paying designers. Why did I said for everybody else I, hesitate and hedge? How much have you got? Yeah, the old duel of artists and commissioners of all types. So you have somebody here saying that 10 cents a word should be the minimum, and anything less is an insult. I kind of agree with them a little bit. There is another siren. Okay, come on, we get it. Somebody's hurt. And I said it was silly, not because the specific person saying this shouldn't get 10 cents a word, but because a lot of people that you will hire for your first product, or even not for your first product, should not be making 10 cents a word. Yeah, industry standard is 4 to 5 cents. No, it makes total sense. Like, inflation has gone up in recent years. Well, I'm glad to see. I'm always happy to see that when big names get more money. I name drop some people I've worked before. If I work with Arthur Martino or Sophia Ajaban, that's my baseline. I'm going to offer them 15 cents per word because I like having quality designers with me. And quality encompasses a number of different facets or aspects of somebody who is a designer. It's not just whether or not the mechanics that they write are good, right? It encompasses a lot more than that. It encompasses things like time. Are they friendly? Are they able to follow instructions and directions? Are they creatively fluent? Is one of the biggest things that I come across, or the biggest issues that I come across when I'm trying to hire new designers. Because I would love to uplift new designers. I would love to uplift new designers on a regular basis. I am in freelancing discords that I regularly put out calls for. In those discords, I'm making more money at my current day job than ever before, so I'm able to finance. I'm able to bear the loss leaders sometimes that a lot of these new up-and-coming designers are. A little more easily. But the vast majority, I'm going to say a thing here, the vast majority of tabletop freelancers that companies interact with are bad. They are bad at design, they are bad at being freelancers, and they waste time, and they suck money out of the publisher's budget. all the time. All the time. Chilmus Valley was the last really big Kickstarter that I did. Seven Willows is not going to be nearly as big, partially because it's just a zine, and it's something I managed to spin up in about a week. And the Kickstarter is mostly really just for art and maybe stretch goals. Chilmus Valley wasn't like that. Chilmus Valley was a very big project. But we still had a limited budget. So when I put out a call for freelancers and got something like 100 respondents, most of those people, like I said here, most of those people were just using like the tweet that I made to like hang on and say, hey, I'm a tabletop freelancer. Check out my work. And I was like, oh, sweet. Can I get you in on this project? And they were like, let me get back to you. You know? And that still wasn't the worst part. So the worst part was when I had 3 freelancers who I had a very simple task for them. A very simple task for them. This module is going to have about 24 very important NPCs of one specific class would be a dumb word to use, given that that word does a lot of work for us when we're discussing mechanics. A specific tier of NPCs, a group of NPCs. They were supposed to be Archfey, right? And I wanted to have stats for a whole bunch of them. And what happened was independently, I kept seeing weird mechanics. Not weird mechanics, like very standard mechanics, actually. That made me felt weird. I kept seeing mechanics pop up that seemed overly written. Oh my gosh. Yeah, somebody definitely crashed on the highway. There's no way somebody different. There's no way somebody didn't crash on the highway like this.
There's probably another fucking Camaro blocking the HOV.
Uh-huh. Yeah, no, somebody got themselves sideways in the HOV lane.
There's been a second Camaro.
Mr. President, there's been a second Camaro. Another Porsche Cayenne. I saw one of those wrapped around the center barrier a couple weeks ago.
Fucking sports car.
Goodness. But yeah, so I started seeing these mechanics pop up. That were like, Fey weapon. The Fey can use this weapon to, like, they could call it back to their hand, or they could make a melee attack at range. I was like, alright, that's weird. And then I saw these mechanics pop up in all of the stat blocks between these 3 separate designers. Now, I had asked them to collaborate, and I put them in a group chat, and I'd ask them to collaborate. I would ask them on the regular, hey, have you gotten to, this is kind of neat, I like your concept, this is, you know, I think that you could really make some cool mechanics out of this. Have you spoken with the other designers about this? And they said no. And I'm like, well, you gotta get to it. And they would say, oh, well, I'll get to it. You know, I'm not really comfortable working with others. I'm like, oh, okay, this is something I told you. This was in the expectations document ahead of time. So I don't know why you're telling me that now. I told them, and so they would send in their submissions. I would look at them, and I would see the same mechanics pop up between 3 of these. I'm like, what is going on? So I started just reverse searching these mechanics, like Fey Weapon, and I came across the 5th edition SRD. And I was like, whoa! Something is really wrong here. So I confronted the person I was the freelancer I was most annoyed with at the time. I'm not going to name drop them here, even though I should. I probably should. I should probably encourage other people not to engage with them, but it's not going to matter because these people are all over the place. They are unavoidable to some extent. And we had like days of argument over whether or not it was acceptable for them to do this. And I said, look, even if it's not legally plagiarism, it is morally plagiarism, and even if my audience was morally comfortable with paying money for me to plagiarize, I would then not hire someone else to go out and plagiarize. Even if it made moral sense for my backers to do this, and made moral sense for me to do this, it would not make any moral or business sense for me to commission you to do this. And finally what I did was I paid this person off. And I said, get out of here. I said, all right, you know what? Nope, I'm done. What's your PayPal? Get out of here. But that took up money. I think I was paying that person either 10 or 12.5 cents per word. And Bradford says, the good ones don't stay in tabletop RPGs. Video games snap up the designers, and the tech writers go work outside of gaming entirely. Yep, that's about it. So you're going to come across a lot of people when you're working in this field. You're going to come across a lot of people who maybe made some homebrew and it was cool and they enjoyed it once or twice. That's the wrong window capture. There we go. They enjoyed it once or twice, but they have no context for working professionally. They have no practice working professionally. They're not aware, or they have no special awareness of obligations they should meet when working in tabletop games. They have no expectations for things that they should do or standards that they should adhere to. None of that. None of it whatsoever. I think we're going to actually approach from this side. Probably a better idea. Fiddlemax says, I did all the projects I wanted to do in the AAA RPG space. I have no need to do more. Yep, I totally sympathize with that. Group these guys here, them here, and then we'll go 2x2 for the Hawk Riders. Simpson size, Simpson size, something of that variety. I recall you mentioning the Star Wars book that you worked on, by the way, or wrote specifically, I think it was. So you're going to come across these people all over the place. You are not going to get away from them. They are going to constantly eat up the money of your project. And so what you should do is, if you're engaging in a little bit of uplift protocol. I don't know why I can't speak right now. Uh-oh. Warhammer is crashing. Too worried about right now. It shouldn't be. I have plenty of memory here. Oh, and it just dropped out on me. Oh well. Not too worried about it at the moment. So what you should do when you're interacting with these new freelancers is that you should, frankly, offer them a lower... It's difficult, because if you offer people like a high standard of pay, it is going to attract more people who are working professionally. But if you're putting out calls for folks who are inexperienced, they don't have professional work under their belt, generally speaking. They have a homebrew or two, or like a zine that they might have crapped out on Drive-Thru-RPG, which is like cool, and I'm not trying to insult those people, okay? Everybody starts somewhere. I started from somewhere. I started from somewhere like less than a decade ago. So that's not me crapping on them. It's just like, okay, when it comes to tabletop RPGs, people who make things generally make a lot of, like, the real professional designers make a lot of things. Like, and they could just keep doing it. If you're a professional in this industry, somebody can look at you, say right, and you could start doing it. You could sit down and do it immediately. That's mostly true across most of the professional people I know. It's certainly true of me. They have a degree of professional, creative fluency where they could just make stuff. So being able to write is not necessarily a marker of professional quality. Because really, everybody in this industry should be able to. And the exceptions are notable, if there are exceptions. I'm sure they're out there. And the exceptions that are out there would be notable for the fact that they could just... it took them a really long time, or they weren't able to do it often, but when they did write something, it was fire writ upon the page. It was perfect, right? But if you're not that, you need to be able to write. You need to be able to write every day. And for the kind of person who you don't know if they can write every day, or might object to being asked to be able to write every day, you should probably pay that person like 5 to 10 cents per word. Probably 5 to 8 cents per word. But the trouble comes in when you want to make people come back to you, and you want to be able to, so the folks who excel in that 5 to 8 cents per word space, they're new designers, they're up and coming, they have no professional proof. You want them to like come back to you, and you want them to get paid for their work, because then they, then you could have more of their time. So sometimes things that you could do are offer profit sharing, or you could offer, like, one thing I've been doing recently is saying, like, okay, I will pay you 10 cents per word. I will pay you an additional, if the Kickstarter for this product, for instance, is successful, if the Kickstarter is successful, I will pay you an additional 5 cents per word. For a lot of the younger designers that I'm going to be trading, it's probably going to be like 8 cents per word, and then maybe I'll give you another 4 cents per word if the Kickstarter is successful. Or if the person has like no professional proof, it might be 5 cents per word. Or write me a submission first. I've started doing writing out interview documents, because I am so tired of people being bad at this nowadays. I'm tired of having my time wasted. And a lot of small, independent designers who have throwing around a couple $100 or a couple $1,000 to get a professional product down do not have the spare budget for people who are going to waste time, who are going to come in, soak up like $200 of crap that can't be put in the game and is incomplete, and then bounce. You can't, if you're working on a lower budget, you can't do this. So the one thing, because I saw one person saying like, well, if you can't afford to pay them a living wage, I don't think they actually meant this, because this would be incomprehensibly stupid. You would have to be so dumb to believe this, that if you couldn't pay them a living wage, as like, I don't know, she might have used the word business, which would make this a little bit more acceptable of a take, right? Not wildly outside the, not wildly outside the norm. Well, to be fair, Rube, most companies do screen heavily before they even consider taking someone on to write stuff or even edit stuff. Yes, companies themselves do this, which is why it's fine for that to be attached to companies. But for hobbyists or people who are like small independent designers, like you really, you just can't afford people coming in, wasting your time. Like I said, drawing up 2 paragraphs of crap or having it be plagiarized. And then pay those people 10 cents a word. You will run out of a budget. And you will not be able to pay and that has a ton of different cascading effects. Like Chilmus Valley hasn't come out yet. Because I had to deal with people, so many people who could not sit down and write. Or I had to simultaneously play the editor, or simultaneously play the creative consultant. I couldn't just have them sit down and write. I found 2 big exceptions to those, which were Sophia Ajaban and Arthur Martino. And Sophia couldn't work on the project for the entirety of the duration. She's got great life stuff going on for her. I wish her the best. I wish I could have taken her on for that entire project. That would have been amazing. But like, this is just the stuff that you have to deal with. Fiddlebags left a number of interesting comments here, one of which his resume among them. Let's see here. Edited most everything for the Age of Rebellion line and got to write a fair portion of the Sage source book. Did a bit of Star Trek 2 and edited the John Carter book. That's me done and dusted. Hey, that's awesome. Being able to write is the bare minimum. Being able to rewrite 2 or 3 times and meet the brief is the heart and soul of it. Yeah, like if somebody asks you, make me a monster, write me a card. Like for a tabletop game, this is an issue I had writing the what was it, the Lords of Brachus. Like I want content for a lot of the games that I am attempting to build in production. In the background here and prep for Kickstarter is, okay, I'm really good at making a framework for a game, and then once I do that, once I write out the game rules, I lose interest right about the time it comes to writing out like 12 different kinds of swords, right? Or 12 different kinds of instruments, or 12 different kinds of monsters. It's generally when I lose a little bit of interest, and I would just prefer to have like 1 or 2 other people there making content alongside of me to bounce ideas off of, right? So I'll hire someone on. I will have a project expectations document in which I tell them, by the way, like, these are your exact expectations. You will write 24 monsters. You will write 24 pieces of equipment, 12 notes, 12 songs in a mechanical sense, I'm not requiring you to write me a Taylor Swift album, of course. That would be silly. This is very bard-focused RPG is the specific example that's coming to mind. I would tell them in advance, this is what you're doing. You will not be doing core rule rewrites. I can do that all day. I could do it. I could spin off another version of this system in about a day. So I don't need people to come over and say, oh, well, this thing could work like this other thing that's not valuable to me. I can do that better, faster than most other people I meet in the industry. My little slice of the industry, I could do that easily. I'm not hiring somebody else to do that. What I'm hiring somebody else to do is write out swords, because I consider that, generally speaking, I consider that if I'm just doing it for myself, a little bit boring. Especially if it's outside the context of a game. If I'm running a game and I'm writing out like magic items, I can do that all day as well. But if I'm writing content for a specific system, I just generally prefer having 1 or 2 other people there to bounce ideas off of and keep it fun. Especially if I haven't gotten money for it yet. You know? And when it comes to a lot of these freelance designers, they just can't do it. They're always hedging their bets. They're like, well, what if I just need to make sure that, like, I have the specific exact thing. Here's what I want you to do. They will often come to me and say this. Can you just write out this, 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 and this? Can you give me a list of examples that's like this, 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 and this? And immediately, I just feel drained. Because I can do that. I have done that in the past, and it always goes the exact same way. The person keeps coming back to me, writing and rewriting one specific piece of content, because that's all they can do at that point. And saying like, well, I don't know if this matches up with your expectations, or I don't know if this matches up with the project goals, or I just really want to make sure, I just want to go back to the core rules and say like, well, I really prefer it if I still think that this could work like this instead, and they just will not fulfill the assignment. They just don't. No matter what, you'll get designers who just will not meet the assignment. And Rare is one of the designers that I've picked up right now. I'm thankful I started a new job when I got this person, because now I can fund them. Rare is the person who goes through, you ask them like, yeah, can you spin out a bunch of swords with me? And they say, okay. And they come back a week later and say, here's a dozen swords. I made a bunch of different mechanics for each of them, using your core rules as a base template. Let me know which ones you like, which ones you don't like, because they're creatively fluent, and they can do it. And they're good at it. Rare is the good designer who knows how to make things. Because oftentimes, yeah, they do go to other industries. Why would they be in this one? There's very little money in it. If you're a hobbyist, like I usually am, there's a little bit of extra money in it than a hobby typically gets you. As a business, you want to make a small fortune in the tabletop RPG industry, go ahead and start out with a big fortune. And then you'll have it. But yeah, so that was my thoughts on this question. Why some people saying like, oh, well, it should be 10 cents per word. It's like 10 cents per word is fine for professional designers. I would not come at any of the, like, for instance, the MCDM designers with an offer of less than 15 cents per word. Because those guys have work. They know they have work. They're proven items, right? They know they're good. And they could go elsewhere if they don't like your offer. And that's fine. But if you're starting out in this industry and you're hiring people that you don't know anything about and don't have a lot of professional experience, and most importantly, can't meet the project guidelines, I'm seriously considering, I've been told some places that this is taboo, but in the interview documents, I think I'm going to start doing this. I think I'm going to ask people to write content to start off with. I'm going to say, here, submit this content, and this will be used as proof of concept for whether or not you can work for us. If we don't hire you, we're not going to use it. And if that bothers you, don't apply. Because at this point, like, if I was applying for, like, writing, I don't know, if I was, here's an example. If I was applying to write for Flea Mortals, and they asked me, write out a dozen monsters that you think should be in this book, I wouldn't have an issue with it, because I could write monsters all day. I'm a creatively fluent person. I am a designer, so I can do that. I'm not holding on to, like, this one monster concept like it's like my last bit of gold, and if it slips from my fingers, I will be creatively bankrupt, as most of these people really are. I could just do it. But a lot of people who are going to apply are creatively bankrupt, and they will eat at your budget until there is nothing left, and then you will not be able to finish your project on time, which means you will not be able to finish future projects on time. Any kind of development schedule will be completely thrown off. It will interfere with other parts of your life. And so it's stupid to offer these people a lot of money to begin with. If you want people who are good at designing to make a lot of money off of you, for the what I will say is a trivially easy task of design. If you know how to do it, it's trivially easy, I guess. Is you can offer them profit sharing, or you could offer them bonuses on a complete and successful project. If this Kickstarter succeeds, I'll give you more money. I'll double your rate. I've done that in the past. 10 cents per word on offer. If the Kickstarter is successful, I will make this 20 cents a word. I'll compete with, and that's right up there with MCDM. I think they pay either 20 cents a word or 21 cents a word. That's a lot. That's a lot. That means you really believe in that person. But yeah, you have those options. Don't just go around, if you see this on Twitter, it's stupid. Because, like, everybody commenting saying, well, the standard should be 10 cents a word, are generally speaking freelancers themselves. And if you are susceptible, as somebody who's, like, running their first project, to what people say on Twitter, then you're going to lose out a lot of money for people that can't write. Fiddleback said, with Transit, I didn't bother asking if my co-authors could actually write. I needed them for mechanics. I already knew they could write and edit. I could write and edit, so I considered that solved. When you mean write, what do you mean exactly? I guess I've been lumping those two things together, writing and mechanics. If I ask people to write, I generally speaking mean, like, stat blocks. Like, I need you to write these out, or I need you to make these stat blocks. I don't necessarily usually expect people to come up with like a long. Yeah, it's another. Yeah, absolutely. No, I've made several of them this entire stream. Usually because at this point in the stream, I'm generally losing my voice and liable to slip up a little bit more often. Not to mention this tooth chip that is still dragging at my audio and my ability to pronounce correctly. But yeah, if I ask people to come up with like monster stat blocks or monster ideas, I generally don't like demand that they then write out like an entire description for them. Like, oh, here's another version of a cloud giant. Like, don't worry about making that like. Don't worry about writing a short story about them or making them interesting. I'll handle that. Just describe them to me, write out the mechanics, and I can handle that pretty easily because I've written a fantasy book. It's not an issue for me. I write the stuff out for campaigns all the time. I have my own bestiary that I work with at this point. Because I got frustrated with the original ones being bad. But it's so hard to get people who could like commit to a project, commit to deadlines, and commit to writing content. Whether it's narrative based or whether it's mechanics. It's brutal. And for me personally, I recommend this to everybody else out there. Write out interview documents. Make people submit to begin with. If somebody is so creatively bereft that they cannot risk you snatching their idea for a monster, which you shouldn't be doing, obviously. I would never do that. I have never done that. Make them submit. Yeah, just clip it off there. Make them submit. Make them submit content. And if they can't meet like 4 whatever. One freelancer I was working with for Lords of Brachus, writing cards out was like, well, I haven't. It's like, well, we agreed on this price and I haven't gotten to this yet. I'm like, well, that's because I haven't approved the submission yet. But fine, I'll just pay you. But they implied something, which was like they had been holding in reserve. And I'm like, all right, well, now I've paid you for this thing. I've just pre-approved this thing that I wasn't going to approve anyways. But in the hopes that maybe you will make some additional content, I'll just toss money at you. This other thing is useless, but maybe if I toss money at you, maybe that'll be just the right, I can water this seed, and it will blossom into a beautiful flower of cards and content that I need for this game. And nope, that didn't happen. So if you're just constantly holding in reserve, if the people that you're hiring are constantly holding in reserve and creatively bankrupt, like, the interview will hopefully chase them off. We will see if this is the case. I'm going to begin testing it on the regular now. So we will see. Yes, objections. Does anybody have any thing that they would like to? Because I've been making a lot of very strong claims at this point. Hey, Caleb! My Warhammer crashed. What's the next bit of content you were coming out with? As a matter of fact, that's the wrong link. Hehehe. Caleb, we should play later today. It was shocking to me. It wasn't supposed to crash. So I currently have a Kickstarter going on for Zine Quest. I have my lovely badge here. Called Seven Willows. It is a game about exploring the wilds. You will play a ranger who was supposed to be guided through their new domain of 7 magical forests. But your master died the night before, so now you are left, for the first time in anyone's memory, or any written record, to take on this test alone, to bond with the forest. And because the forest does not currently have a master, it's starting to get a little out of control, or the forests, plural, are starting to grow out of control. It is a game. It is a small game. I don't know how to describe that appropriately. Usually, when I say zine, people assume it's a self-contained game. So I've been operating on that assumption for the moment. But there are zines which do not match that description. So this is a self-contained game about a ranger exploring the wilds, and it is an exploration-focused game. Hey, that's completely fair. I'm not going to yell at you for it. But yeah, so there's a neat little narrative about the master's death, and when you were give link to Seven Willows. I can do that. I can post links in my own chat. Nobody's going to stop me. What have I just been tagged in? Oh. Oh, I gotta ignore that. Uh-oh. Pay no attention behind the curtain. To the man behind the curtain. So yeah, so Seven Willows is a small game. It's exploration focused. It is compatible with 5th edition, Pathfinder 2nd edition, and some OSR games, because of course I have been working in the AD&D space as of recent. Offering new exploration focused conditions, statistics, and benefits for what most games see as mundane activities, but I've looped into an actual gameplay loop. You can play this solo. You can play with a single referee. Or you could play with up to 5 other players. Thereabouts. And I would recommend either solo play or a referee play as well. Pretend I'm 5 and explain it to me like I'm 3. My voice is evaporating right now. I don't think I could do it. I'm rapidly running out. You can probably hear it. Tell you what, I'm going to take a short break. I'm going to be back in like 2 minutes. So I go use the restroom and ease up my throat for a hot second. I'm going to refill my coffee and hopefully that'll work. Alright, I'm back. And I can breathe again, so now I'm going to answer your question in full. Now that I feel like I've caught my breath, at the very least a little bit. Suggestion, the audio streams, nope, that's just something YouTube goofed because my microphone was muted via the cough button, and it thinks there's now a problem. That's just YouTube being silly. So, Seven Willows is an exploration-focused game about traveling through, exploring, and then mastering a magical valley. You play a single character, or a single type of character, which is a ranger, recently bereft of their master, and is now in charge, or now has the objective of traveling through and communing with the seven forests that they now find themselves in charge of. As mentioned, the game is exploration focused. Most of the activities that you're going to engage with are going to focus on the environment themselves. They're going to focus on sort of mundane activities, or what most other role-playing games treat as being mundane activities for specific benefits. The management of time is your primary resource and your primary focus insofar as every day of play goes. And there's a bunch of other neat activities you can engage with. Finding loot, going fishing, foraging, and hunting. Fighting monsters, gaining new mounts and animal companions. And, of course, the delightful activity of travel. That is the 30-second pitch as to what it is that you'll be doing. And then, of course, if you click on the Kickstarter itself, there is a video explaining more details about it. There is a long story which is going to get updated today. I wasn't able to do it yesterday due to some internet problems, because Spectrum hates me. But that is the basic thrust of the role-playing game. You are going to play a ranger. You are going to manage how that ranger spends their time and prepares for incoming challenges on a day-to-day basis. And in the process of doing so, they're going to attempt to reach the what are called the Logris Willows at the center of each magical forest and commune with them, passing a test or two in order to gain control and gain unique boons and benefits in the process. It is a role-playing game. You will be have internal control of your character's, not monologue, over your character's actions and how they react to responses out in the world, as well as how they respond to social encounters, which are possible within the context of the game. But social play is not necessarily a focus of this game in particular, so it does slide a little bit more towards the board game side of the spectrum. If you're comparing, video games, board games, tabletop RPGs, and putting them all in kind of a triangle graph, it's going to swing a little bit closer to board games than most other tabletop RPGs are, but it's a small product, so that's generally fine. So I'm going to boot up Warhammer again. Why not? So that's the thrust of it. There's going to be more details about it on the channel. I'm getting ready to wrap up here, folks. Thank you for joining me. It was not the most entertaining stream in the world. Due to some audio problems. And some other nonsense, but I do appreciate you shooting the bull with me. The main problem was we went about an hour longer than I initially intended. I know what the limits of my voice are at the moment. I don't know if I just need to get like a different chair, or probably a standing desk is going to fix it. But my posture is horrible in these things. No, it's not your fault. My posture is legitimately horrible in these things. And this chair is much too low, even for my short, stubby legs. Thank you for hanging out. Fiddleback, I will absolutely hit you up on Discord. And I'll see you folks later. Thanks for chilling out. Peace.